All right, guys, here we are. The map is Metropolis, and down at the bottom part of it, we have our pink Protoss player, winner of the last game, tying things up. SlayerS' newest member is none other than SlayerS Genius. And on the right side of the map, the Manor Bear himself from Team Liquid, it is Sheth.
I always want him to do that. Have fun, good luck, sir. Heart, and then 6 pool. Like, that just seems like such a the difference
like drone
in
rush
there. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But no, Sheth way too mannered for that, and opening pretty standardly. And looks like this go around, Genius is going to put that pylon up in the front. Seems like it's going to be a little bit more predictable. Forge fast expand. Although to be honest, I've seen some Protoss players recently that have been putting pylon down up at the front, and then gateway is their first structure. So
yeah, you can do it either way. I mean, it is good to get that wall up off. Or wall up off, I should say. And so you can do that by putting the pylon there, obviously. It's a little bit more dangerous to do it because you have nothing to stop Zerglings from coming in and ruining your fun. If you lose your gateway early on, that sometimes is like even worse than losing a forge if you try to forge expand and they 10 pool you or something like that. So most of the time it's in the base, but every once in a while you do see that gateway at the natural too. But like you mentioned, it's probably going to be a normal Nexus first into forge or, you know, forge fast expand for Genius.
Okay, well, Genius taking a pretty good look around his opponent's base, and looks like Sheth is putting down his pool. Oh, wow, it's just way away. Has Genius seen this? No, he has not. So this pool is successfully hidden from him for a little while, and he will scout it out here in just a bit. But just like Terran players that have put barracks in kind of weird places, not proxying them, not throwing them anywhere else, they just want to throw their opponent off just a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, too, that Zerg players have been trying to play around with... oh, he gets it down, too. Nice. Zerg players have been trying to play around with Hatch first against Protoss as well lately.
I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you off. What I was going to say, though, was that, you know, Sheth, because he hid this spawning pool, basically ensured that Genius was going to come back in and check for it and gave him the opportunity to put down this natural at the quickest possible time. So that was actually really clever, really well done play by Sheth. Always
good if you're a Zerg player and you're against a Protoss that likes to try to deny those hatcheries, to try to sneak your probe out in, or your drone out rather, in some sort of way. We see some Zerg players try to sneak it around the outside and just dodge the probe. We see lots of little kind of jukes and fakes where, you know, the drone will start going towards the third right away and then turn around and get back and put it down the natural before Protoss can react. So, yeah, there's little things Zergs have been starting to get better at as far as making sure you can get your hatchery down on time.
And looks like the third is going to come up pretty much absolutely on time. There's nothing blocking it at all. A few Zerglings being sent out now just to kind of poke around the map, and Photon Cannon's going to be up in time to defend against them, so they won't be able to poke in all that far, and really not going to see anything out of the ordinary from Genius.
Yep, not quite yet anyway. Now, I'm curious to see if we're going to maybe see some Stargate play on this map. It is quite popular from Protoss.
And it is Genius.
That's right. He does love his Stargate play. And this is the type of map, too, that you can do a decent job of hiding it before you send it across to your opponent's base if they don't have an Overlord in position to scout. Now, Sheth is getting an Overlord there, and I do like the timing for that Overlord. It's going to get there around the 6:30 to 7-minute mark, which is usually when you want to scout. As Zerg, as far as running an Overlord in there, he's running that one in a little bit early, but he knows that he can get through there before anything anti-air comes out, so he's just double-checking to make sure there isn't anything really weird going on.
So, yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary for either player quite yet. Sheth is starting to break down the destructible debris to his opponent's base. Now, of course, if Genius was thinking about going after some sort of a quick robo and to expand, it's going to be doing him a favor, but, you know, in those off chances, when he's not, when it's some sort of a gateway attack or something like that, it's going to open up another backstab path for Sheth, so being very diligent about that. I like that.
Well, when you're a 3-base Zerg against a 2-base Protoss, sometimes the best thing to do can be to go for the base trade instead of trying to fight army to army. A lot of times, you know, if you have that Immortal Sentry push coming at you, it can be very, very difficult if you've put a lot of resources into roaches to hold that off. So on maps like Daybreak, we see a lot of Zerg players just simply go for a counterattack. And if you can trade and just barely defend at home, if you can trade your third for their natural expansion, you're going to be in a great spot. So, yeah, sometimes it's not so bad to base trade in these types of situations. So it's good for Sheth to give himself those opportunities to do that.
It was a fairly quick third gas, but no fourth gas came up along with it. So he's going to have a little bit higher gas earlier on, but then over time it'll peter out a little bit. So we'll see what that means he's going to do here. As we can see, though, Robo and 4 gates in total for now, but this is absolutely normal at this stage of a game for a Protoss player. Back on Sheth's side, though, oh, it is Warp Prism, yeah.
Warp Prism, interesting, because he didn't go for any sort of +1 attacks or anything like that.
Look at this.
This will be a rather sentry-heavy one, and yeah, some Zerglings coming into the natural expansion.
Yeah, this actually ended up working out really well for Sheth. So looks like he's only going to kill. No, he actually does get 3 probes. So
Not
very
bad.
well done. That's some damage that Genius certainly going to feel. And of course now he is going to have to worry about. Excuse me, he is going to have to worry about this path here open to the left.
Yeah, so the question is, you know, will Genius be able to get the drop on Sheth, no pun intended, and force field off his main base to try to kill that? I mean, if he could get the lair, that would be huge. Zergling speed has just started, so, you know, if he can do that, he'll be in a really good place.
And it looks like Sheth going to try and swing through one more time there, and once again, catching his opponent a little bit unawares. There's no unit sitting out here for now. Finally, a couple of Zealots making their way in, but Sheth has picked off another probe. He's going to make his way into the main as well, but the Warp Prism is making its way into Sheth's base.
Yeah, I don't think Sheth was paying attention at home. He was too busy looking at what was in his opponent's base. Only a couple Zerglings up there. And he's got to make sure that he gets the force field there. And does he force field? Oh, there he does, getting 1 Zergling up, but that's about it. And, whoa, he's got to be careful with those sentries. But if he keeps his force fielded, Sheth could be in huge trouble here.
And it looks like Genius will indeed keep those force fielded, sending the drones directly after. Oh, after the sentries, but he picks up inside of the Warp Prism. Those drones kill things so slowly that he's going to be able to do this over and over again. But Sheth is able to make his way through.
Yep, there are some roaches out as well. Those are better against the Zealots, but there's so many Zealots out right now for Genius. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to end the game right here, do any significant lasting damage, but yeah, he did kill a couple drones at least. That does help a little bit, but you know, it was a good response by Sheth to try to just get in there and surround those sentries before all the Zealots showed up. That's what let him get up the ramp. So nicely done there by Liquid Sheth.
Yeah, so Sheth does a little bit of damage there, doing some damage here to this Nexus as well, forcing a few sentries out to take out the Zerglings, and indeed he will. But no cancel there. Genius just trying to take his third base, starting to increase the Immortal count as well.
Yep, that's right. Probably going to see that Twilight Council go down fairly soon. Since he does have +1 weapons finishing, probably wants Blink fairly soon as well. And he's actually going to be getting the Robo Bay too. So good chance we're going to see Colossus tech from Genius in this game, and there's that Twilight Council. So yeah, just going for a really solid late game, giving him the ability to get Colossi out to kind of stay safe, maybe push a little bit, and then later on transition into Archons and Templar and things like that. He's got to save this third base, though. Looks like he shouldn't need to. Well, that's getting pretty low. And
50 hit points.
Oh, man, Genius.
And is he going to hold on? He does.
Whoa. That was so close, man.
Okay, well.
That Roach is like, I got it. No, it's not.
And he's sort of a follow-up, though, has a good potential to crush that Nexus. So that's certainly something that Genius is going to have to be aware of. When this finishes, he's only going to have about 350 hit points remaining on it.
Yeah, so that will be a vulnerable third base for SlayerS Genius. I keep almost saying MVP Genius, but it's SlayerS Genius now. I have to get used to that.
Go all the way back and be like next Genius.
I know,
so.
yeah. NSP Genius.
Yeah.
Thermal Lance is on the way right now for SlayerS Genius. Another couple gas as well at his third base. Want to get that gas income going as fast as possible. And yeah, this will be just a really good, safe combination of units. He'll be able to be solid, be aggressive with it if he wants to, but most importantly, just come into a very, very good late game compositionally. Now, Sheth does have his Infestation Pit coming down. It's not terribly late, but you know, it could be maybe a little bit early. But the nice thing for Sheth, too, is that he knows he's not going to be under any pressure, so he can really put a lot more into his economy before he goes for things like the Infestation Pit and later tech. So just kind of an all-around good later game ZVP, it looks like.
Looks like Sheth is going to try and go through these destructible debris as well. They are within the vision of Genius, though, so he can actually hover over those and see that the rocks are going down. So we'll see if he's able to react to that in time. Shifting a few units over to the third right now. Looks like he did full wall off the space running into his natural, so there's only limited attack paths into his bases.
Yep. Well, that War Prism wants to get out there and do damage again, and with the +1 Zealots, certainly could do a little bit, but Sheth does have roaches there, so if he does decide to warp in Zealots, it's going to be about it. warping in some Stalkers to fire from the high ground, and yeah, you can just pick those right up and get out of there.
And looks
That's
like
fine.
this attack path has actually opened up. The Nexus has recovered over 500 of its shield, so it's going to be a while before any substantial damage will be able to be done there with the amount of army that Genius has in position. Sheth, on the other hand, going up to Hive Tech, going up to Spire as well, so we're going to see that eventual transition over to Broodlords here in just a bit. First 6 Infestors coming up as well, so Sheth will have a very strong force in the future, but for now, he's got to make sure that he isn't the recipient of any sort of strong attack from Genius in the near term.
Did he research pneumatized carapace? Or no, the what's the drop upgrade for Zerg? I'm suddenly like blanking on that.
Ventral Sacks?
Ventral Sacks.
No,
Why did
just
I forget
pneumatized
Ventral
carapace,
Sacks?
so.
Okay, so this may be a bit of a fake drop to pull Genius out of position, but Genius pulling Sheth right out of position with that War Prism. But yeah, I think what we're going to see is a fake drop so that Sheth can get in and hit the third base. And it's pretty low, so this could actually work. We'll see.
We'll see if it does. That's a lot of Overlords.
Yeah, it is.
And unfortunately, all these Lings are going to pass underneath this this Observer. We do have a Dark Shrine on the way as well, and that is going to be used for Archons in addition to DTs here.
Yeah.
So there's no Templar Archives up quite yet.
Oh, and he sees the Overlords and Sheth. Yeah, I don't think he can. Well, he's going to try to go for it, maybe with a little bit of these Lings, doing some damage to the Nexus, just softening it up a little bit.
Yeah,
softening it up a lot a bit.
200
oh, wow.
hit points, 100,
No
and stays alive. 159 hit points. Sheth trying to get through the main as well.
And with this distraction too, and he's going to lose everything here, obviously, but oh, Sheth might have been able to go in and kill that Nexus, but it would have been tough. Genius has a, I mean, his build is working like it should. He's got a very, very strong defensive force right now at his 3 bases. His Nexus, though, is really low. I mean, that is his big weakness right now. That's his big vulnerable point. He needs to keep that Nexus alive. If he can't, it's going to be another situation like we saw last game where he's going to maybe just need to attack and try to win here.
Oh, and Sheth losing a lot of forces, going to pick off a couple of sentries here at least to get some sort of value in a trade, but loses quite a bit himself. Now, Genius actually has a lot of Chrono Boost sitting around. Probably needs to dump some on this Nexus just to recover some shields a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad. For those of you who may not know, if you Chrono Boost a building, it will regain its shields faster.
Yep.
As well as build things faster as well. And it looks like Genius just wants to attack, though. This would be a good reason to save Chrono Boost as well. He can get a lot of gateway units out very, very quickly. He does have the supply lead, too, although now it just got even for Sheth. Normally with Zerg, you do want to be a little bit closer to 200 at this point. You want to be maxed out. Sheth does have a good amount of spine crawlers out on the map, though, and he's trying to flank from behind, getting to cut off a little bit of reinforcements here, too.
And Genius blinks up and runs all the Lings into a lot of
Oh,
Kawasai. That is a barbecue is what that is.
Yeah. Not even stopping to eat. He's like, I'm too busy. I don't have time for dinner.
Yes, Zergling, one of the finest of barbecue meats, but, you know.
Well, here he comes again. Look at that pylon placement was pretty good to protect that Nexus, but here we go. Genius moving into Sheth's space, and those spine crawlers not doing a whole lot. Oh, he does get the Nexus, so now this attack is vitally important for Genius. He needs to do a lot of damage with this.
We do have 6 Broodlords actually on the way. I'm not sure where they're morphing in at. There's a few of them, so that is a pretty good fleet, but already the Blink Stalkers are right underneath. Couple of Fungal Growth pinning those units down in position, though, and Sheth is able to kill the front line of those, but there's still a lot of firepower here for Genius.
Yeah, Genius. Oh, more of his units getting fungled, and he's not even going to get to kill a lot of Infestors with this as well. The Broodlord's doing good damage. And now, Genius needs to be a little bit careful about how he engages. He needs to watch out for fungal. He needs to try to blink under those Overlords. Blinking right on top of the Infestors, targeting down the Broodlords, and it looks like it's going to work.
Yeah, he's actually killing most of these, and Sheth is trying to reproduce everything at the moment.
Nice.
This is a big war of attrition right through the middle. The Colossi have not been touched yet, and all the Broodlords have gone down. Actually, I take that back a little bit. There is one more remaining, but it looks like it's going to fall momentarily.
Well, Dark Templars are in this force for Genius as well, and the Overseers are going to die so quickly to all those Stalkers. Sheth has lost all his Infestors. He's lost all his Broodlords. Things are looking a little bit grim. The army for Genius, despite the fact that he's down to 2 bases right now, just looks really, really hard to stop.
Yeah, and that's, Genius finding himself in a position again, second game in a row that he's had his 3rd killed from out from underneath him. He's trying to reproduce it right now, and Sheth doesn't really have much of an ability to counterattack, unfortunately, keep denying that.
Yep, that's right. I mean, you can counterattack, and what Sheth did was great, but just losing all those Infestors and all those Broodlords just is something you cannot have happen in this match. If that happens, that is going to nearly always mean that you're going to end up being the one who GG's at the end of the game.
And as we can see, this is just a huge amount of death and destruction. Unfortunately, not really anything available for Sheth at the moment. He's got a few forces here, but it looks like Genius may be rolling his way to a second consecutive victory for SlayerS.
I think he might, and if he did, that would just be a great start for his career on SlayerS.
All right, well, 2 Broodlords, a defensive position up here for Sheth, and he's going to try and delay, possibly kill this force if he can. He gets down some good fungal growths, but the DTs come in afterwards, and nothing's there to stop them. The Broodlord's falling as well, and Sheth has just lost the rest of his attacking units.
Yeah, that unfortunately is going to be about it for Liquid Sheth. Genius really doing a good job. GG. And SlayerS Genius giving another win to his team. They are up 2-1. Sheth, you know, I got to say,